Something is shifting right now that most people cannot see. And if you do not understand what is happening, you will move through one of the most significant windows of the year without receiving what it was designed to deliver. So listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you is not general spiritual encouragement. It is specific, it is time sensitive, and it directly concerns the situation you have been waiting on. Starting now, from this week through the end of July, something is happening in the energetic field of this earth that has not happened at this level in a very long time. The timeline of manifestation is compressing. What would normally take years to surface is surfacing in weeks. What would normally take months to understand is being revealed in days. What has been hidden is becoming visible. What has been delayed is beginning to arrive. And for chosen ones who have been through the testing season, who have been holding on to specific prayers and specific promises and specific situations that have been waiting for what felt like too long, this window is not ordinary. This is the window God was always going to use to deliver what the testing season was building toward. Compressed, accelerated, all of it arriving in a fraction of the time it would have taken in any other season. But here is what most chosen ones do not understand about accelerated windows. The same compression that makes the blessing arrive faster also makes the mistakes happen faster. The same acceleration that brings what has been delayed also closes the windows that were not taken advantage of. The same force that is compressing the timeline of breakthrough is also compressing the timeline of consequence. If you skip this window, you will not lose what God promised, but you may lose the specific timing of it, the specific form of it, the specific version of the arrival that this window was designed to produce. And the next version, the one that comes after the window has passed, will require more time and more work and more navigation to reach. This is why the title says, do not skip this. Not to create fear, to create urgency, the right kind of urgency. The urgency of someone who understands what is available and who chooses to show up fully for it rather than drifting through it unaware. Now let me tell you why this is happening. Why right now? Why this specific window from now through the end of July? The first reason is what is happening in the sky. The sun has been extraordinarily active in the weeks leading up to this period. Eruptions occurring in rapid succession, energy waves moving through the field in ways that the scientific community is tracking, and that sensitive chosen ones have been feeling in their bodies and their spirits before they ever heard an explanation for what they were experiencing. The sun is not random in its activity. In the spiritual understanding that runs through centuries of chosen ones before us, the sun is the primary vehicle through which God pours light and energy and information into the Earth's field. And when the sun is highly active, when it is producing the level of output it has been producing in recent weeks, what is happening is the information field of the Earth is being flooded with more data than it can absorb gradually. And when the field is flooded with more information than it can absorb gradually, the absorption happens in a rush, in a compression, in the specific phenomenon of years of processing being compressed into weeks because the information pressure requires it. This is why what should take years is happening in weeks right now. The energetic field is under a specific kind of pressure that compresses the timeline of everything, of understanding, of breakthrough, of the arrival of what was prepared, of the dissolution of what no longer belongs. All of it is accelerating under the specific pressure of what is moving through the field from now until the end of July. The second reason is the specific celestial alignment of this window. Today, Venus and Jupiter are in exact conjunction, the most powerful relationship and provision alignment of the year, opening the channels through which God moves connection and blessing in the direction of chosen ones who are in alignment. In less than 2 weeks, Venus moves into Leo, the invitation to full self-expression, to the calling expressed without the apologetic management that the testing season trained, to taking up space, to being seen fully. And at the end of June, Mercury goes retrograde, which means the window between now and late June is the window of clearest forward movement, the least friction, the most direct path between what was established in the spiritual realm and its expression in the natural realm. And the chosen one who moves intentionally through this window, who takes the steps and makes the declarations and opens the doors that this window supports, will find that what would have required months of slow, friction-heavy movement in ordinary times happens in days during this window. The celestial calendar is not accidental. God works through the celestial order He created, and the order He created placed this specific window with this specific alignment of forces at this specific point in the journey of chosen ones who have been through the testing season, not by coincidence, by design. The third reason is the specific position chosen ones are in right now. The testing season ended, the portal cleared the field, the higher version was activated, the character was sealed, and the chosen one who has been through all of that is now standing in a cleared, open, prepared field that is ready to receive at a level it was not ready to receive before the testing season. And when a prepared field meets an accelerated window, the multiplication is extraordinary. Not just the acceleration of what is arriving, the acceleration of the chosen one's capacity to receive it, hold it, use it, and build with it. Because the preparation is complete, the formation is done, the vessel is ready. And what the vessel is ready for in an accelerated window is received at a rate that an unprepared vessel in the same window could not manage. You are prepared. The window is accelerated. The combination of those two things is what the title means when it says, what should take years will happen in weeks. Now let me tell you specifically what is compressing in this window for chosen ones. Because the acceleration is not vague, it is happening in specific areas. The first area of compression is understanding. During the testing season, clarity about the direction of the calling, the specific form the next chapter should take, the exact nature of what God was building, was often elusive. The chosen one knew the general direction, the pull of purpose was real, but the specific shape of it, the concrete next steps, the particular expression of the calling in the new season, was murky. In this accelerated window, that clarity compresses. What would have taken months of prayer and discernment and gradual unfolding of the vision begins to arrive in days. Specific, targeted, clear enough to act on. Not because God changed how he reveals things, because the field is clear enough to receive the revelation, and the acceleration is compressing the timeline of the revealing. The vision was always there, the clarity was always coming. It is just arriving much faster now than it would have arrived in a season without this level of acceleration. Expect clarity this week and next week that surprises you with its speed and its specificity. And when it arrives, trust it and act on it. Because the clarity that arrives in an accelerated window is compressed. It has less time to establish itself before the next piece arrives. And the chosen one who acts on each piece of clarity as it arrives creates the momentum that allows the next piece to arrive and be received in turn. Act on the clarity as it comes. Do not wait for the full picture before moving. In an accelerated window, the full picture is built piece by piece in real time by the chosen one who moves on each piece as it arrives. The second area of compression is relational resolution. Every chosen one carries at least one significant relational situation that has been unresolved, that has been painful, that has required faith and patience and the specific difficult work of continuing to hold the relationship in prayer when prayer felt like it was not producing anything. In this accelerated window, those relational situations begin to resolve. Not all of them, not all at once, but the one that has been the most central, the most prayed over, the most costly to hold in faith begins to move. The conversation that needed to happen begins to happen. The healing that needed to occur finds its opening. The reconciliation or the closure or the deepening or the arrival of the new connection that was always supposed to replace what fell away, all of it begins to compress into the weeks of this window. What would have taken more months of waiting begins to happen in days. Watch for relational movement starting this week. It may arrive quietly, a message from someone you had not heard from, a conversation that turns towards something that needed to be said, a shift in a relationship that you can feel before you can fully explain. These are the first expressions of the relational compression that the accelerated window is producing. The third area of compression is provision. God's material provision for chosen ones who have been in the financial pressure of the testing season begins to flow in this window in ways that the testing season could not support. Not because God changed his intention, because the testing season, with its specific demands and its specific constraints, created specific barriers to the flow that the new season removes. And in an accelerated window, the removal of those barriers and the flow of what was always prepared happens faster than the ordinary pace of provision movement would produce. The opportunity that was always going to arrive arrives in days rather than months. The financial door that was always going to open opens sooner than the ordinary timeline would have suggested. The resource that was always supposed to flow begins to flow now rather than later. This does not mean every financial difficulty resolves immediately. It means the movement begins. The direction becomes visible. The first evidence of what is flowing arrives. And the chosen one who receives the first evidence with full faith and full gratitude creates the conditions for the second evidence to arrive quickly behind it. Now let me tell you what chosen ones must do to cooperate with the accelerated window. Because the acceleration produces on behalf of those who cooperate with it, not on behalf of those who are unaware of it or who move through it in the same posture as the testing season. The first thing is to speed up your decisions. In the testing season, the appropriate posture was caution, deliberate patience, the careful waiting for full clarity before moving. Because the testing season was not the time for rapid movement. It was the time for sustained faithfulness in place. But the accelerated window reverses that. In an accelerated window, the appropriate posture is prompt movement. Taking the step when the clarity arrives rather than waiting for additional confirmation. Making the decision when the direction is clear rather than waiting for the direction to become obvious. Not reckless movement, not the abandonment of wisdom, prompt movement. the specific willingness to act on partial clarity in the trust that the full picture is being built piece by piece, and that the building requires the movement on each piece rather than the waiting for the whole. Speed up your decisions in this window. When the clarity arrives, move on it within days rather than weeks. When the opportunity presents itself, respond to it quickly rather than waiting until you feel completely ready. When the door opens, walk through it while it is open, rather than pausing to analyze whether it might close. The second thing is to speak what is forming. In the testing season, the appropriate posture was to guard what was forming, to not speak prematurely, to let the internal development complete before offering it to the world. But the accelerated window changes the timing of the speaking. In an accelerated window, speaking what is forming is part of what accelerates the formation. The declaration that the thing is real and is coming produces the specific alignment in the spiritual realm that accelerates the natural realm expression. Speak what you are believing for in this window. Name the direction the calling is taking. Tell someone what God is building, not as performance, as the specific act of cooperation with the acceleration that makes what is forming in the spirit express faster in the natural. And the third thing is to release what is slowing you down. In an accelerated window, the things that carry the weight of the old season are not just uncomfortable, they are actively slowing what the acceleration is trying to produce. The old pattern that the testing season built, the old relationship that has been occupying space that the new season needs, the old way of seeing yourself that the higher version has already moved beyond, but that you are still defaulting to. These things, in an ordinary season, can be held for a while without significant cost. In an accelerated window, the cost of holding them increases dramatically, because the acceleration is pressing against everything, and what presses against the old patterns presses them into greater visibility and greater discomfort. And the chosen one who is holding on to what needs to be released will find the holding increasingly difficult. Let go of one thing this week, the most obvious one, the one that surfaces immediately when you read that sentence. Let it go, create the room, and let the acceleration fill what you released with what it was always going to bring. This window is the window. From now through the end of July, what should take years is happening in weeks. What should take months is arriving in days. Do not skip it. Now I want to speak to something that the acceleration produces in chosen ones that is often misunderstood. Something that can feel like something is wrong when it is actually evidence that everything is working correctly. The acceleration produces symptoms. Physical and emotional and spiritual symptoms. Symptoms that in any other season would be signs of difficulty, but in an accelerated window are signs of movement. The first symptom is unusual exhaustion. Some chosen ones entering this accelerated window are sleeping more than usual, needing rest at times they do not normally need it, feeling a specific quality of tiredness that is different from ordinary fatigue, deeper, more pervasive, like the body needs to lie down even when it has not been particularly active. That exhaustion is not a warning sign. It is the body processing the acceleration. The nervous system integrating the level of information and energy that is moving through the field at a rate it has not previously experienced. When large amounts of new information enter the field rapidly, the body requires extra rest to integrate what is being received. If you are sleeping more in this window, do not fight it. The rest is doing something. It is the integration work that makes the acceleration productive rather than overwhelming. Let the body have what it needs. The second symptom is emotional intensity without an obvious cause. Tears that arrive without a clear source. Grief that surfaces without a specific event to attach it to. Joy that feels larger than the circumstances warrant. Emotional releases that seem disproportionate to whatever triggered them. This is the compressed timeline doing what compressed timelines do. Moving through the emotional processing that would normally be spread over months in the space of days. The grief that the testing season produced, but that there was never time to fully feel because surviving the testing season required moving forward. The joy that was held back because expressing it fully felt premature. The specific emotional content of the previous season that the acceleration is now moving through at speed. Let the emotions move. Do not manage them back into containment. What surfaces in the accelerated window needs to surface. The clearing that the emotional releases produce is what makes room for what the acceleration is bringing. The grief leaves and the space it occupied fills with what was always going to come after it. The third symptom is vivid dreams and unusual synchronicities. Dreams that feel more significant than ordinary dreams, that carry specific imagery that stays with you through the day, that seem to be saying something that you cannot quite decode but that you know matters. And synchronicities occurring with unusual frequency, the repeated number, the conversation that addresses exactly what you were thinking about, the song that arrives at the moment you needed that specific lyric. encounters that feel arranged. These are the field communicating through the channels that the acceleration has opened. The information that is pressing into the field is not only pressing into the conscious mind, it is pressing into the dream state and into the synchronicity pattern. And the chosen one who is paying attention to the dreams and the synchronicities during this window is receiving specific guidance about the direction the acceleration is moving in their specific situation. Write the dreams down. Note the synchronicities. The pattern they form together in this window is a map of what is coming. And the fourth symptom is the specific feeling that time is moving faster than it should. Days going by with a quality of speed that makes you look at the calendar and wonder how it is already the middle of the week. Hours that seem to have fewer minutes than they used to. The specific disorientation of someone whose internal sense of time is not matching the clock. That is not disorientation. That is the experience of living in an accelerated field. Time is not actually moving faster, but the amount of information and energy and movement being processed per unit of time is significantly higher than ordinary. And the human system, processing more per hour than it normally processes, experiences the passing of that hour as faster than ordinary. This will continue through the end of July. And by the end of July, when the convergence reaches its peak, what was months of ordinary processing will have been compressed into these weeks. And chosen ones who navigated the acceleration consciously, who cooperated with it rather than fighting it, will find themselves at the end of July looking back at these weeks and recognizing how much happened, how much moved, how much arrived, in how short a time. The acceleration is not something to endure, it is something to cooperate with, to move with rather than against, to receive rather than resist. Stay present, move when the clarity arrives, speak what is forming, let go of what is slowing you down, rest when the body asks for rest. Let the emotions move when they move. Pay attention to the dreams and the synchronicities, and watch what happens between now and the end of July. What should take years is happening in weeks, and every week of this window is more significant than the one before it. Do not skip it. Now I want to speak to something that chosen ones specifically need to understand about what it feels like to be inside an accelerated window when you have just come out of an extended testing season. The testing season trained you to wait, to be patient, to hold steady in place, to not move until the clarity was undeniable, to protect yourself from the cost of moving too soon towards something that turned out not to be what it appeared. And that training was appropriate for the testing season. It served you. It kept you from costly mistakes during a period when patience was the primary assignment. But the accelerated window asks for something different, and the chosen one who is still operating from the testing season's training when the accelerated window opens will find themselves in a specific kind of tension. The clarity will arrive and the testing season's voice will say, "Wait for more confirmation." The opportunity will present itself and the testing season's voice will say, "Do not move until you are completely ready." The door will open and the testing season's voice will say, "Analyze whether it might close before committing to walking through it." That voice served you in the testing season. It is not serving you now. The specific shift that the accelerated window requires of chosen ones who have been through extended testing is this: trust the first knowing, not the second thought, not the analysis that follows the initial clarity. The first knowing, the one that arrived before the testing season's caution had time to construct its objections. Because in an accelerated window, the first knowing is the alignment signal. It is the specific impression that the accelerated field produces when what is presenting itself is genuinely aligned with the direction God is moving. And the second thought, the analysis, the careful weighing of pros and cons, is not wisdom in an accelerated window, it is delay. And delay in an accelerated window has a cost that delay in an ordinary season does not carry. Trust the first knowing, act on the first clarity, move when the door opens rather than pausing to verify that the door is genuine. The testing season trained you for patience. The accelerated window is training you for promptness. And the chosen one who learns promptness in this window will carry that capacity into everything that follows, with the specific advantage of someone who knows how to move with the current when the current is moving. And one more thing. The acceleration that is happening right now is not only happening in your life, it is happening collectively. In every chosen one who has been through the testing season, in every person who has been in the waiting, in every situation that has been held in faith without visible movement. All of it is beginning to move simultaneously. And the specific implication of that for chosen ones is this: the people whose situations are connected to yours, the ones whose movement is part of what your breakthrough requires, they are also in the accelerated window. They are also experiencing the compression. They are also moving faster than the ordinary pace. which means the timing is coordinating. The specific convergence of what you need with what they are moving toward is being produced by the same acceleration that is pressing on both fields simultaneously. God is not just moving your piece on the board, He is moving all the pieces at the same time, in the same direction, in the compressed timeline of this window. What looks like coincidence when it arrives is the coordinated movement of multiple pieces that God has been moving simultaneously. And the chosen one who understands this receives those coordinated arrivals as the specific evidence of God's involvement, rather than as fortunate accidents. Everything is moving, at the same time, in your direction. And I want to say one more thing about what the end of July represents, because the acceleration has a destination. It is not just acceleration for its own sake. It is movement toward a specific convergence point, a specific moment when what has been moving simultaneously from multiple directions arrives at the same place at the same time. The end of July is that convergence point, the specific moment when the compressed timeline of the accelerated window completes its compression, when what was building across all the weeks from now until then arrives at its peak expression. And chosen ones who navigate the acceleration consciously, who moved with it rather than against it, who took the steps and spoke the declarations and released what needed releasing and received what was arriving, will find themselves at the end of July in a position that is dramatically different from the position they were in at the beginning of June. Not gradually different, dramatically, incomprehensibly different to anyone who did not understand what was happening in the field between now and then. And the chosen ones who drifted through the window without engaging it, who were aware of it but did not cooperate with it, will find themselves at the end of July wondering why the people around them seem to have moved so far so fast, while their own situation feels similar to where it was. The difference is not God's faithfulness. God is faithful to both. The difference is cooperation, and cooperation with an accelerated window is available to every chosen one who chooses it. Choose it, from now, through the end of July, every week, every day. Move with what is moving, and arrive at the convergence point having received everything the window was designed to deliver. Do not skip this window. Write now in the comments. God sees everyone. Subscribe and turn on notifications. See you in the next one.